Now let's turn to Israel, which has introduced a curfew on the eve of Passover. People have been ordered to stay at home until 7 in the morning local time on Thursday. Now normally big crowds would gather for the burning of the chametz, the leavened items, things like bread, which aren't consumed or possessed by Jews during this religious holiday. But you can see there, due to people having to keep their distance, they've had to do things a little bit differently during this pandemic.
According to the government regulations, we're all supposed to only dispose of our chametz privately in our own homes, only in a safe way. And hopefully next year we'll be able to, when there will be hopefully no corona threat, we'll be able to come and redo public burning of chametz.
So a slightly different situation. Our global religion reporter, Lebo Diseko, is monitoring it for us. So, Lebo, the Jewish community who are already in some parts of the world marking Passover, they'll be doing it a little bit differently tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, Kasia, they will. In Israel, you just heard there just some of the things that people aren't able to do. Passover started a few hours ago for people living there. And on the first night, one of the things that people would usually do is hold a big meal called a siddur, where family, friends, community get together. They sing, they say prayers, they look at the holy text. And it's really about community and bringing people together. But obviously that can't happen. I've literally before came on air was looking at some of the things that people are doing just to try and maintain that sense of connection. So, for example, going out onto balconies and saying or singing the 4 questions, which is a big part of the siddur meal, or cracking open the door for people that live in apartment buildings just so they can hear their neighbours and feel that sense of togetherness. I was also speaking to a rabbi that lives in New York, and he's been really encouraging people to try and relate some of the ceremonies to the situation we're going through at the moment. So, for example, the ritual washing of the hands, he says, is an opportunity to just remind people that in this day and age, that is something that could save people's lives.
Yes, it's a very simple message, isn't it? We've all been saying it for such a long time, wash your hands. This is a religious period at the moment. We've got Christians, they'll be staying away from Mass on Easter Sunday this weekend. Of course, Ramadan coming up as well. It's going to be a very different experience for many religious groupings.
Yeah, well, the Pope's really been leading by example on this one. He has been having all of his services this Holy Week without a congregation. He's been live streaming them, and he'll be continuing to do that for the foreseeable. I was speaking to a Christian lady who lives in Kenya. She was telling me how they're doing a Zoom communion on Friday, Good Friday. I didn't even know that that was possible, but that's something that they are planning to do. And also a group here in the UK were telling me how they're planning for Ramadan. One of the big things that happens every evening is people get together and break their fast together. They have a meal called an iftar. This group are planning or trying to have the world's biggest Zoom iftar. They'll be also having the call to prayer every evening. And something that really struck me when I was speaking to one of the organisers is she said, look, just because we're physically apart this Ramadan doesn't mean we have to feel alone.
Oh, that is a lovely thought on which to end. Lebo, thank you so much. It's a very strong message there. We are distanced, but we are still together. Lebo Diseko there, thank you so much for talking us through that.